My beloved brothers and sisters, we begin by praising the Almighty, the most merciful, the most wise. We ask Him to bless us, guide us, forgive us, and protect us. Ameen. Today I want to speak about something very important in our lives: trust. Trust is a powerful thing. When it is given to the right people, it brings peace, love, and stability. When it is placed in the wrong hands, it brings heartache, betrayal, and sometimes even destruction. The Prophet Muhammad Letfi said, "The signs of a hypocrite are three. When he speaks, he lies. When he makes a promise, he breaks it. And when he is entrusted, he betrays the trust." Hadith Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. So today, I want to share with you three types of people you should never fully trust. Be kind to everyone, but be wise about where you place your trust. If someone comes to you and they start speaking badly about another person the moment they sit down, you should be very careful. Today they are backbiting about someone else. Tomorrow they will backbite about you. What does the Quran say? Do not backbite one another. Would any of you like to eat the flesh of his dead brother? You would detest it. Surah Al-Hujurat 49:12. If someone constantly finds joy in exposing others' faults, in mocking people, or in spreading gossip, then know that they carry a dangerous tongue. Trusting such a person is like pouring water into a basket. It will not hold. Even if they act kind in front of you, remember, their character is revealed not by how they treat you, but by how they speak about those who aren't present. Some people make promises like it's nothing. I'll call you tomorrow, or don't worry, I'll be there. And they never show up. They break their word as if it means nothing. But in Islam, a believer is known by their word. In fact, when we say La ilaha illallah, we are making a promise to Allah that we will live our lives in obedience to Him. A person who treats promises like casual sentences cannot be relied upon when times get tough. Today they break a small promise, tomorrow it could be something serious. Be cautious. We all make mistakes, yes, but the issue is not occasional failure. The issue is when someone does it repeatedly without remorse. That's when trust should be withheld. Have you ever met someone who, no matter what wrong they do, they always have an excuse? If they lie, they say, "I had no choice." If they cheat, they say, "It's just business." If they hurt someone, they say, "They deserved it." My brothers and sisters, a heart that is constantly defending sin will slowly become blind to the truth. When a person is never willing to admit fault, never willing to say, "I was wrong," then how can you trust them with your heart, with your secrets, with your loyalty? We are all sinners, but the best of sinners are those who repent, who humble themselves. If someone justifies every wrong they do, they are not trying to improve, they are trying to deceive. Let me be clear. This speech is not to teach you to hate others or to walk around suspicious of everyone. No, that's not the character of a believer. We are taught to have Hasan al-Diyan, good thoughts, and to give people a chance. But Islam also teaches us to be wise, to recognize patterns, to protect ourselves and our families. The Prophet tied his camel and then put his trust in Allah. That means you take precautions and then you trust. You don't leave your door open and then complain when someone robs you. That's not tawakkul. That's negligence. So trust wisely. Be kind. Be fair. But don't be naive. May Allah protect us from the betrayal of those who smile in front of us but stab us behind our backs. May He make us trustworthy, sincere, and loyal. And may He guide us to choose good companions who remind us of Him and bring peace to our hearts. Ameen. Trust is one of the most valuable and fragile qualities in any relationship. In Islam, trust is not just a social virtue. It is a divine responsibility. Allah mentions in the Quran that He offered the trust to the heavens and the earth, and they refused it, but man accepted it. This highlights the seriousness of trust and how it is not something to be taken lightly. When someone places their trust in you, they are handing you a part of their vulnerability, a part of their heart, their secrets, or their safety. To betray that is not just to wrong the person, but to violate a moral duty given by Allah. Trust forms the foundation of families, friendships, communities, and even our relationship with Allah. When we say La ilaha illallah, we are declaring a trust between ourselves and our Creator. We are saying, I live for you, I obey you, and I will not place my loyalty above yours. That in itself is the greatest trust we carry. But how often do we reflect on whether we are being trustworthy in our daily dealings with others? There are people who smile in front of you, but the moment you turn your back, they expose your flaws. There are those who will assure you of confidentiality, only to reveal your secrets when it suits them. There are business partners who sign contracts and then find loopholes to cheat you. There are friends who take your kindness for weakness. Every one of these actions is a betrayal of trust. And the Prophet Muhammad made it clear that betrayal is one of the signs of hypocrisy. A trustworthy person is not perfect, but they are honest. They fear breaking someone's trust because they know that trust is a form of amana, a trust placed in us by Allah Himself. It's not only about keeping secrets or being honest with money. It's about being sincere in your words, dependable in your actions, and consistent in your character. When people know they can rely on you when your words match your actions and when you uphold what is right, even when it is difficult, then you have honored the trust that Allah expects from His servants. Backbiting is one of the most destructive habits a person can develop, yet it is often treated casually in conversations. In Islam, backbiting is not a small matter, it is a major sin. Allah describes it in the Quran with a powerful and disturbing image. He says that backbiting is like eating the flesh of your dead brother. The language is not symbolic without reason. It is meant to shock the believer, to make them realize how severe and ugly this act truly is. Despite this, many people engage in it freely, often without even realizing they are committing a sin. Backbiting occurs when someone speaks about another person in a way they would dislike if they were present. It does not matter if what is being said is true. If it would hurt or embarrass the person, it is still backbiting. If it is false, then it becomes slander, which is even worse. Yet in many gatherings, especially where gossip is common, backbiting becomes a form of entertainment. People speak about others' faults, mock their choices, discuss their private affairs, and even joke about their struggles, forgetting that every word is being recorded by the angels. The danger of trusting someone who engages in backbiting is that their tongue is not under control. If they speak about others in your presence, they will surely speak about you in your absence. A person who finds comfort in exposing the flaws of others has a heart that is distant from humility and sincerity. Such people are not just damaging others, they are damaging their own soul. The more someone backbites, the more their heart becomes hard, and the further they drift from the mercy of Allah. Moreover, backbiting ruins relationships. It destroys the trust between people, spreads hatred, and plants seeds of division. Families are torn apart, friendships are broken, and communities are poisoned because of words that were spoken carelessly. A person who spreads gossip may appear friendly, but in reality they carry a dangerous trait. Making a promise to pay a debt, to deliver something, to attend an event, or to simply be available. These are all matters that should be taken seriously. In the Quran, Allah commands the believers to fulfill their covenants and keep their agreements. This includes both formal and informal promises. It reflects honesty and integrity, and it shows respect for time, effort, and emotion. There are also those who make promises just to please people in the moment with no intention of fulfilling them. This is deception, and it is rooted in the desire to be liked rather than to be honest. Such individuals often speak beautifully but fail to act accordingly. Their words become a mask rather than a mirror. Over time, their reputation suffers and their relationships become shallow. Even in matters of faith, some people make promises to Allah in moments of desperation. If I'm saved from this, I will change, only to forget those promises as soon as ease returns. This cycle of promise and neglect reflects a deeper problem of weak commitment and lack of fear of accountability. Betrayal is one of the most painful experiences a person can go through. It doesn't come from strangers. It comes from those who were once trusted, loved, or relied upon. In Islam, betrayal is not just a social offense, it is a serious sin. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Render back the trust to the one who entrusted you, and do not betray you." This teaches us that our character should not be shaped by the behavior of others. Even if someone wrongs us, we are not allowed to become unjust in return. A believer holds themselves to a higher standard. Betrayal comes in many forms. It can be the leaking of a secret that was shared in confidence. It can be dishonesty in a partnership where trust was expected. It can be the failure to stand by someone in their time of need after promises were made. Sometimes betrayal is not through action, but through silence. When someone watches wrong being done to someone they claim to care for, and they say or do nothing. These moments leave deep wounds because they violate the bond of trust that was built slowly over time. One of the most dangerous things about betrayal is that it is often done by those who appear sincere. The face may smile, the words may be soft, but the heart carries deception. This is why it is so damaging. It doesn't just hurt emotionally, it creates doubt. A person who has been betrayed begins to question their judgment, their ability to trust again, and sometimes even their own worth. This emotional damage is why Islam places such importance on being trustworthy and truthful. A person who betrays others often justifies their actions. They may say it was necessary, or they may downplay the impact. But Allah knows what is hidden in the hearts. He knows when trust has been broken for personal gain out of envy or due to cowardice. In this world, someone may escape blame, but no betrayal is hidden from Allah. The believer must be cautious of such people. Those who show loyalty on the surface, but prove to be disloyal when it matters most. Surrounding yourself with people who have a fear of Allah and a commitment to truth is one of the best ways to protect your heart from the pain of betrayal. Character is the true measure of a person. It is not revealed in times of ease or in moments when everyone is watching. True character shows itself in private moments, in the way a person treats those who can offer them nothing, and in how they behave when no one else is around. In Islam, character is not something superficial. It is part of faith itself. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The best among you are those who have the best character." This shows us that even acts of worship are not complete without good character, and that a believer must work on both their inner and outer self. A person may appear religious, may speak beautiful words, and may even impress others with knowledge or public deeds. But if their character is corrupt, it reveals a deeper issue. Someone who is arrogant, harsh, impatient, or dishonest, despite having external religious symbols, has not truly internalized the message of Islam. The one who gossips, manipulates, looks down on others, or acts unjustly is showing the condition of their heart. These are not small flaws to be overlooked. They are warnings about whether this person can be trusted, respected, or followed. Character is also tested in moments of conflict. Anyone can be polite when things are going well. But how does a person respond when they are angry, criticized, or disagreed with? Do they remain respectful, or do they insult and belittle? Do they admit their mistakes, or do they blame others? These are the signs that tell you who someone really is. A person who consistently acts with humility, patience, kindness, and fairness, especially under pressure, is someone whose character can be trusted. Many people put effort into how they appear in front of others, but neglect how they are in front of their family, their employees, or those they consider beneath them. This double standard reveals hypocrisy, not sincerity. A trustworthy person is consistent. They do not wear masks. They are the same whether you meet them in a gathering or see them in private. They fear Allah in every dealing and speak the truth even when it is difficult. They do not use charm to manipulate, nor do they seek praise from others to cover their faults. Their strength lies in the purity of their character, and that is something no title, wealth, or appearance can replace. Integrity is one of the most powerful and respected qualities a person can possess. It means being honest, upright, and consistent in values and actions, even when no one is watching. In Islam, integrity is closely tied to taqwa, God consciousness, because a person who is aware that Allah is always watching will strive to remain truthful and just in all situations. The Prophet Muhammad, letter of D, was known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy, even before receiving revelation. This title was not given to him because of what he said, but because of how he lived. People trusted him with their wealth, their secrets, and their affairs because they saw that his words and actions were always in harmony. A person without integrity may know how to say the right things, but their behavior contradicts their speech. They may act religious in public, yet deceive and manipulate in private. This inconsistency is dangerous because it reveals a lack of sincerity. Integrity is not about perfection. It is about honesty, accountability, and a willingness to admit wrong when it happens. A person with integrity does not need to be reminded of their responsibilities. They hold themselves to a standard because they fear falling short in the sight of Allah, not just in the eyes of people. In daily life, integrity is reflected in small but important ways. Being on time, keeping one's word, returning what doesn't belong to you, speaking the truth even when it is uncomfortable, and refusing to take part in anything dishonest or harmful. It means doing the right thing, even when there is no immediate reward or recognition. Such people are rare, and when you find them, they bring peace, reliability, and strength into your life. But when you deal with someone who lacks integrity, you are always uncertain. You never know if they mean what they say, if they are telling the truth, or if they will change their stance when it no longer benefits them. A person with true integrity doesn't switch their principles for popularity, money, or convenience. They are stable, firm, and grounded. They don't play both sides or act differently in front of different people. Their values guide them, not their desires. And because of this, their presence brings security and trust. They may not be loud, but their actions speak clearly. They may not be perfect, but their sincerity is evident in how they carry themselves through life. Accountability is a quality that separates those who grow from their mistakes and those who remain trapped in them. In Islam, accountability begins with the understanding that every soul will be answerable to Allah for what it has done. This awareness alone should inspire a person to regularly assess their words, actions, and intentions. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The intelligent person is the one who holds himself accountable and works for what comes after death." This self-accountability is not just about avoiding punishment, but about purifying the soul, improving character, and becoming someone others can rely on. When a person refuses to take responsibility for their actions, it becomes extremely difficult to trust them. They may constantly blame others, deny obvious faults, or create excuses for their failures. Instead of admitting a mistake and trying to correct it, they shift the attention elsewhere, often causing harm in the process. This type of behavior creates frustration and confusion in relationships because it makes honest communication impossible. When someone is never wrong in their own eyes, there is no room for growth, no space for resolution, and no foundation for mutual respect. True accountability means being honest with oneself before expecting honesty from others. It means acknowledging that you may have caused hurt, overlooked an obligation, or acted unjustly, and then taking steps to make things right. It's not always easy. The ego resists being corrected. But the believer knows that standing humbly before Allah on the day of judgment is far more important than preserving the pride of the moment. That's why those who hold themselves accountable in this life will find ease in the next. In leadership, accountability is even more crucial. A leader who cannot admit mistakes or accept criticism becomes a danger to those under their care. They make decisions based on personal comfort rather than collective benefit. But even in simple day-to-day roles, as a parent, a friend, a spouse, or a colleague, the absence of accountability can damage trust deeply. When a person apologizes with sincerity, corrects what they can, and learns from what they cannot fix, they demonstrate maturity and sincerity. People who fear accountability often hide behind charm or authority, thinking they can avoid consequences. But accountability is not just about what the world sees. It's about what is recorded, what is remembered, and what will be brought forth when nothing else remains. Gossip is one of the most destructive habits that can exist within any community, family, or relationship. It involves speaking about others behind their backs in a way that brings them harm, whether emotionally, socially, or even spiritually. In Islam, gossip is not just frowned upon, it is condemned in strong terms. Allah likens it in the Quran to eating the flesh of one's dead brother, an image that speaks to how vile and repulsive the act truly is. Despite this, gossip is often disguised as casual conversation, harmless chatter, or concern for others, but its impact is always negative. When a person constantly engages in gossip, it reveals something about their heart. It shows an addiction to speaking about others rather than improving oneself. It reflects a need to feel superior, to entertain through the faults of others, or to seek validation through tearing someone else down. These behaviors are rooted in insecurity and arrogance, two traits that are deeply discouraged in Islam. The Prophet Muhammad warned that a person who spreads tales to cause division will not enter paradise. This shows how serious the consequences of gossip can be, both in this world and the next. Gossip doesn't only harm the one being spoken about, it also harms the one listening and the one speaking. It creates a culture of mistrust, where people begin to fear each other's tongues rather than feel safe in each other's presence. It weakens bonds, spreads false assumptions, and often leads to conflict. People who gossip may appear friendly or sociable, but they cannot be trusted. If they speak freely about others with you, they will speak about you with others. Their words are unstable, and so is their loyalty. Sometimes gossip is disguised as concern. Someone might say, "I'm just worried about her," or "Did you hear what happened to her?" But the intention is not to help. It's to share information for the sake of attention or entertainment. Even if what is being said is true, it is still gossip if the person would be hurt by it. A believer guards their tongue and avoids gatherings where gossip is common, because they know that words are not light, they are recorded. The one who truly fears Allah thinks before speaking and refuses to let the faults of others become a source of amusement or judgment. Caution is a necessary trait for anyone who wishes to live wisely and protect themselves from harm. In Islam, caution does not mean suspicion without reason or cutting people off without cause. Rather, it means being aware, alert, and mindful of who you allow into your inner circle and what influence they may have over your life. The Prophet Muhammad exercised caution even with companions, assigning responsibilities according to trustworthiness and observing people's behavior before placing full confidence in them. This shows us that being cautious is not a sign of weakness or distrust in Allah. It is a sign of wisdom and foresight. A cautious person does not rush into close relationships. They take time to observe, to understand, and to assess whether someone is sincere or merely putting on a show. They recognize that not every smiling face is a trustworthy one, and not every sweet word is spoken with pure intentions. People reveal their true nature over time, especially in how they treat others when they think no one is paying attention. The cautious individual watches for consistency, for truthfulness, for signs of integrity. They know that once trust is given, it becomes a responsibility, and if placed in the wrong hands, it can lead to pain and regret. Caution also protects a person from manipulation. Some individuals are skilled at using charm, emotions, or false piety to gain trust and then use that trust to their advantage. Without caution, one may fall into traps, share secrets too freely, or rely on someone who does not deserve that level of closeness. Islam encourages us to have a good opinion of others, but not at the cost of wisdom. Trust is earned, not assumed. A believer does not put their hand in the same hole twice. If someone has proven untrustworthy, careless, or deceitful, caution demands that we learn from that experience. In business, in marriage, in friendship, even in religious settings, Caution can mean the difference between stability and chaos. It helps maintain emotional and spiritual well-being because it creates boundaries that protect the heart from unnecessary pain. When someone is cautious, they are not cold or closed off. They are simply selective, intentional, and careful about who influences their thinking, their choices, and their path. Islam teaches balance. Be kind.